Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Twofold Two Stack on CFE.dev. As always, I'm Nick Taylor, your host for today. Not really host. Are you a host when it's just you? I don't know. But anyways, I digress. I hope everybody's doing well today. I'm just going to move a few things around here. So we're going to be talking today about Next.js and all that was released at the conference yesterday. So we're going to kind of dig into that. I'm just going to go over to the YouTube channel and just make sure that everything's all good over there. It says we're live, but sometimes you aren't. And anyways, I can't check. I'm not signed in for some reason. Let me see here what's going on. Anyways, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'll just check it from Twitter. Let's tweet that out and let's do that. Oh, yeah, it's good. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, for some reason, my YouTube logged out at the last minute before I went live. So I'm just trying to find the stream, but it's good that we're live. Awesome. Cool, cool. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about Next.js today, and like I said, what was released. So I'm gonna just bring up the tweet I found about it. There you are. Okay, and let's go ahead and share my screen here. Let's add that to the stage. I'll zoom this in a bit. So the conference was yesterday, and every year they talk about what they're releasing and stuff. And I honestly thought there would be more. I'm not trying to throw shade or anything, but there's definitely stuff there still. Obviously, there was. I know uh, people had been complaining about the dev server being super slow. I know they've done lots of improvements there. I don't know if it's just if you're using TurboPack, like you can see here. If you run dash dash turbo, it should be faster. But I'm not sure if the dev server is faster as well without using turbo. But we can check that out maybe. Hey, how's it going, Jessica? Thanks for joining. I still got to get used to the YouTube chat or the StreamYard chat, because usually when I'm streaming, I guess it's different than when I'm using my Stream Deck and OBS. I should probably figure out how to get set up with StreamYard in my Stream Deck. But anyways, so there's some other features that they had. So server actions, I think they mentioned them at the last Next Conf, or it was sometime this summer. I can't remember when it came out. Everything's a blur. But server actions have been experimental. So this is kind of like you use the use server directive, and it's kind of like a lot of people were complaining about it, or just because like people were showing examples with like it's not raw SQL necessarily. There's like a SQL template, so there's no like SQL injection going on. But basically, you know, people were like, "Why are you writing that in your front end code?" But it's actually stuff that runs on the server. But it looks foreign to people, I guess. The other thing that came about, which is this is probably the bigger thing, and it's only in preview mode, is partial rendering. So partial rendering is basically like, I don't know if anyone's ever used PWAs or like worked on a PWA, but you can kind of have the shell of the app load and stuff. And so my understanding from the partial rendering is it's not a PWA, but you're able to statically generate the parts that they determine are not dynamic, and those will always get rendered immediately. And then the rest of the stuff that's dynamic gets streamed in. I believe that's how it goes. Um, the other thing they're releasing, and this is actually what we're going to use today. One, because this stuff was all just mentioned yesterday. Also, I've been very busy, so I'm like, why don't we just go through the Next.js Learn tutorial? It's 14 chapters. I skimmed through it yesterday, and I think we should be able to go through it pretty quickly. That I think it's good to touch on other stuff that's been around for a while. So there's the app router. For folks that have been using Next.js for a while, you're probably aware of it. If you're new to Next.js, previously they only had a pages router, um, and that would allow you to use stuff like get server side props, which would allow you to get certain content on the server side, and they would come in as props right away with your when your page loads. There's other things you could do like get static props, or I always forget the names of the functions, but that's if you have like like if you're generating a bunch of static pages, you can get all the props in there as well. Um, yeah, App Router was added in next 13 Jessica. That's right. Yeah, they mentioned it last year, so it's not new. I'm just mentioning what they have here. But the App Router gives you stuff like you can have nested layouts and layouts. Um, you could maybe do that sort of before, but the thing with the nested layouts is you're able to reuse like parts of data that you're retrieving without having to go fetch them again. Um, the other thing I'll preface this all with was it's kind of funny, but like when I worked at Netlify, my job was to work on the frameworks team, make sure that frameworks work on Netlify. But I hadn't really done a lot of development with Next.js itself, like building apps. So it's kind of funny now where I'm at open source, we're actually working in a Next.js app, it's pages router still. But so I'm familiar with all this stuff, but I'm by no means a Next.js expert yet. But so yeah, so I think we're just gonna go through the course here. We'll touch on it. But yeah, I think the big thing, like I said, is it partial pre-rendering. There's other stuff they touched on at the conference, like they were talking about like the V0 app. If folks haven't seen that, that's the generative AI app, sorry, generative UI app. And that's built on top of Next.js and some things that they need, like streaming and all that. But that's not really Next.js 14. That's a product they offer. And then there was some talks. So yeah, I think we're just going to go through the course here. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, thank you, Jason, for liking that. All right, cool. So yeah, with that, let's kind of just get to it. So this should be yeah. So yeah, again, here, this is just them summarizing. I'll drop this in the chat, post it here, and I'll just put it on the big board for a second here. Now, the other thing that's interesting, before we kind of dive into this, and we might go a little more than an hour today. We'll see how like the timing is with stuff, but because I don't think you have anything else on the channel today, Brian. But if you do, totally cool to stop at 2. Um, Yeah. So the interesting thing in the framework ecosystem right now is everybody seems to be adopting Vite. Like there was like Vue initially adopted Vite because it was created by the creator of Vue, but then there's like Solid uses it, Svelte uses it, Remix is in the process or have almost finished integrating Vite. So like basically, eh, I think it's a good thing. All these frameworks are kind of narrowing in on this particular tool to do bundling and all kinds of things. So it's interesting that Next is still sticking to their guns with TurboPack. I'm not saying that to say that TurboPack is a bad thing. I can't speak too much to the project aside from I know it's in Rust and it's fast. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the rest of the frameworks ecosystem. Anyways, that's my little peanut gallery. Okay. So if you're interested in here, let me just, and thank you to Brian. I think my first or second stream to remind me to take down the comments. So we're going to go to nextjs.org/learn. And I'm going to drop this in the chat as well. Yeah, Vite's taking over, Jess. You prefer Jess sometimes, Jessica? I usually say Jessica, but I've slipped sometimes and I just say Jess. So if you don't like being called Jess, I will definitely stop doing it. Yeah. So one of the announcements was this renewed tutorial slash guide for getting up and running with Next.js. So I think that's where we're going to start. Going to, of course, I was in the middle of work, so I'm just going to close this. The beauty of working in open source is I don't have to worry about showing any secrets, so I can just close the folder. Cool. And let's zoom that in. Cool. And I'll get a terminal up. Okay. So I'm going to zoom this in. And if folks still need it zoomed in more, just let me know. Okay. So, okay. We are not on chapter 11. I just happened to start there. You know what I'll do? I'm just going to clear the cookies so it forgets where I was. All right. Chapter 1. Let's start learning. Now, some of this we're gonna okay, cool. Yeah, I usually call you Jessica. I don't know, it just slips out sometimes, Jess, I guess. Maybe I'm being lazy sometimes. Um, some of this stuff we're gonna skim through pretty quickly, I think, because it's just like, installing stuff. But um, this is what we're gonna build out. If we're gonna get this far, I don't know, but we'll see. Uh, and let's come over to there. And okay, so yeah, feel free to check out. It's up in the jumbotron right now. The nextjs.org learn if you want to follow along. But also, I'm not going to read through all of it because you can just check it out on there. Okay, let's remove that. Okay, so yeah, so some stuff, this is not the new stuff, but like styling, routing, data fetching. This is basically just all web dev stuff here. Okay, we don't need to go through the requirements, etc. All right, let's get started. So we're gonna install it, obviously. So let's go with what they suggest here, and I'm gonna go to my streams folder. All right, let's create a new app here. Yes, I want to proceed. I'll zoom this in because there we go. All right, that was pretty quick. And if we do nr is just my shortcut for npm run. So let's go nr dev. Oh, would help if I was in the actual folder. So let's see here. Next.js dashboard. Yeah. Okay. So code next. And this is my little hint to folks who love VS Code. If you if you say open up VS Code with a particular folder and you put -r, it reuses the window. So it's just going to reopen in here. Okay, cool. So we've got this. I'm going to hide the sidebar and stuff. I'm going to give us as much real estate as possible so that you can all see. So let's run nr dev. Okay, let's go to localhost and let's see what we got here. All right, welcome to Acme. Acme is doing a lot of business. They've been doing a lot of business for years because when I was younger, Acme was still doing stuff. All right, okay, let's come back to the tutorial. Let me close a few things here. And you know what? Let's just move this to my less busy tabbed area. Yes, yes, yes. Whoop. And let's move this over too. Slowly getting a lot more comfortable in StreamYard. All right, cool, cool. All right, so here we are. So no, we're not on chapter 11. Okay. All right, so we've done that. Okay, explore the project. Yeah, we've done that. Okay. So the folder structure, we can talk about this briefly. There's an app folder. It's app for the app router. If you can still, if you set up Next.js, you can still use the pages router. All the files that are related to pages and the routes would go into a pages folder instead. I'm not going to read through all of these things here. I encourage you to just probably follow along if you want to, or if not, just check it out later. But these are just standard folders. And okay, we got some placeholder data it's saying. So for this project, we provided a blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is going to be our database for now. So I can copy this. Let's go to placeholder data. Is it already in there? Let's see. Okay, we already got it in there. Okay. Next chapter on setting up your database. You'll use the seed to seed your database. Okay, TypeScript. Okay. For now, take a look at the definitions. Okay. Okay, so these are, we're not going to go through a TypeScript crash course, but essentially these are types. You can use types or interfaces, and this is just describing the shapes of the particular entities we're going to be using. So like user, customer, invoice, they all have standard things like IDs and names. Right. That's good. All right. We've already run the development server, so we're all good there. We can go back here. There you go. Cool. Yeah. All right. Let's get back to it. We haven't added any styles yet. You know, we're basically just gonna build a full stack web app right now, and we'll hopefully get to the new pieces of Next.js. Um, all right, so let's add some styling. Okay, how to add global stylings. Normally, I would go a lot slower through all this, but since we've got like hour and a half, I'm gonna go a little faster. All right, so we've got typically you can import CSS, and then this will, if you have any classes and stuff, it'll apply to the markup here. So all right, so we can do this. We can grab this, and that's going to be in layout. So let's go to layout. And you see there's none here. So I'm going to paste it here. Now if we come back, we should see some styling. There we go. Awesome. It's actually more fun, I think, just building this whole thing out. It's fun doing a speed run. Okay, so we've got some styles now. Okay, we didn't add any CSS rules. Where the styles come from? Okay, we won't go into a crash course about Tailwind or anything, but basically, this is how you can load up all these base styles and stuff from Tailwind. Uh, Encourage you to check out Tailwind CSS if you want to. I'm currently using on the first project professionally I'm using it on, and I think it's pretty decent. I tweeted about this the other day. There's yeah, it seems like it's become the default for sure, Brian. It gets spicy on Twitter or wherever you tweet, toot, or post, but uh at the end of the day, to me it's just a tool, and I've done bespoke CSS. I'm super comfortable with CSS. I'll never say I'm a CSS expert. That's like, I leave that to people I consider experts, or people like Jay Tompkins, who's like next level. But uh you know, I think it makes a lot of sense. Utility classes, we use these at Dev 2 as well. But you still need some kind of base styles, for your, get a base font set up, like your H1s to H6s with some stuff, and, your links, because even though you're working in a component based architecture, whether that's React or Vue or whatever, uh, it seems kind of odd whenever you have links to just define that styles for the links every time on a link component, where that's something that makes more sense globally. And under the hood, Tailwind is actually using CSS variables anyways. So, for folks that don't like Tailwind, it's still using, it's CSS. I don't know what else to say, but anyways, I don't get too spicy anyways. Okay, so we've got our app page here. So you can see we're using the Tailwind classes. It's nothing fancy here. So this is just using Flexbox, and we've got some other things in here. Won't go into the details. Okay, so let's play with Tailwind. Copy the code below and paste it above the P element in page TSX. Sure. Might as well just go through the whole thing. All right. Page.tsx and put it above the P element. Yeah. Okay, sure. There we go. I'm back here. Okay, so we've got a little Vercel logo now. All right, cool. All right, let's keep going. Okay, I'm not gonna do the quizzes, not because they're beneath me. It's just we want to move along. Okay, so we got some CSS modules. This is another way you can do things. There's like so many ways to slice and dice, but okay, so this is actually doing a mix of everything. Okay, let's go. Come back here. 2 seconds. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, no, to your point, Jessica, yeah, I think it's a great tool. It allows you to move fast, it's not for, you know, not everybody uses it, but that doesn't really matter. I'm always like, do what makes you the most productive or your team the most productive. And for a lot of teams, that is Tailwind, which is totally cool. Okay, so go to the app page. I think we're kind of mixing and matching styles here just because to just show different ways of doing things, perhaps. So come back here. Okay, that didn't really change much. Okay. Uh, Not sure what that added really. Import styles from home. Styles dot. Oh, yeah, I've got to add this. Styles dot shape. Sure. We can just put it here. It's gonna add another thing in here. Oh, can't resolve home dot modules dot css. Really? Okay. Well, it's not in the project, so maybe that was just talking about using that instead potentially. Let's get rid of this too. All right. Let's just move on. I guess then inside import the styles and replace the tail and class names from div and style path. Okay, so I guess if anybody from Vercel's watching this, it looks like this step of the tutorial might not. Hey, how's it going, Aaron? It looks like that file doesn't exist, or oh, maybe I was supposed to create it. Actually, that was probably what it is. Okay. Anyways, it's doing the same thing. It's drawing the triangle, the Vercel triangle. So I'm just not going to bother. Let's move on. Okay. CLSX is just a library. It's a function that allows you to kind of uh, determine based on booleans and stuff if something should be added to the list of styles. So you can use CLSX conditionally. So we can go ahead and pop that in. I'm just doing this because as we go further, I imagine that we'll need these styles. Okay, it's already in there. Let's close that. Hope you're doing well today, Aaron. Got any pickling on the go for this weekend? For folks who don't know, Aaron is, I don't know if professional pickler is what I would say, unless that's what you call yourself. But she pickles things, and I had some friends that used to pickle things, and I gotta say, I mean, I love pickles, but I think one of the best things they made was spicy green beans that were pickled. Amazing. Hobbyist. Okay, so we'll say you're pro. All right, let's keep moving on here. Yeah, so CLSX, like I said, it's just you can basically use conditions to load certain styles and stuff. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we're not taking the quiz right now. No offense. Okay, chapter 2. There's 14. Okay, optimizing fonts and images. I mean, if you're new to Next.js or even if you've used Next.js a bit, it's good to go over some of these things. I forget when they added Next font. I think it might have come in Next 13 or sometime just after Next 13. Um, but it basically allows you to load images in a more optimized way. And Next Image has been around forever. I know they've done improvements to it, but yeah. So what they're talking about here is cumulative layout shift, or you might hear people say CLS, and that's like imagine you have like a custom font. Your page loads, it has to download the font, and then you can say like show a different font until that one loads, but then all of a sudden the other one pops in and like everything just kind of moves around, and this actually affects your score by Google or okay, so anyways, that's just what that's talking about. Okay, let's add a primary font. Sure, Inter sounds good. This is pretty nice actually that you can just import it like this, because the way I've done it in the past is I go to Google pair fonts or whatever, and then I had a bit of code to just say like load the font, but have a fallback. There's like font face swap. I think there's a few things, but okay. So let's copy that, and we're gonna go into fonts.ts. Okay, so let's just go in there. Does that not exist yet? Okay, wait. adding a primary in your app UI. Okay, create a new file. That would make sense. So let's come here, app UI, and they said fonts. Okay, new file, fonts.ts. Let's add that. Okay, cool. Went too fast there, but essentially we're importing the inter font and then we're exporting it and we're using, it appears to be a subset of Latin. All right. Yeah, sweet pickle promotion here. Adds to resume. I'm down. Okay. So now we're going to go into the body in the layout. We're going to import inter and we're going to use it on the body here. So let's do this. And that's in layout. So let's go layout. Just come here. Okay, now it's not going to find it, but let's hope it auto imports. Yes, it does. Thank you. VS Code. Okay, so let's come back here now. And you're going to see we have a different font now. Looks pretty good. Cool. Let's keep moving. Yeah, I think this is kind of fun just building out this whole app right now. And I think for another episode, depending on what you want to do there, Brian, I think I might do one on Astro because I I started migrating my blog from 11D to Astro. Not that there's anything wrong with 11D. I just kind of got nerd swiped one night. But I think I got to make my NikkiT.live site, which currently just redirects to my Twitch stream. I'm going to make that just like a Astros site and, have my schedule there and stuff because it's kind of mixed in my blog at the moment. Yeah, Astros pretty awesome, Jessica. And yeah, the teams, they're super cool too. Okay, so now it's your turn. In your fonts, import a secondary called Lusitana. Okay, sure. So let's come back here. Let's go to fonts. And let's do this. We'll grab another one here. So Lusitana. And then I'm just going to copy this. Let's do this. Lusitana. Okay. Okay, maybe this doesn't apply to Lusitana. So what's it saying? Expected one argument, but got zero. What is it? Arguments types of. So, okay, so let's just do weight 700. Has to be a string. Thank you, IntelliSense. Okay, so we got Lusitana, and it said we want to put it on the Acme logo. So that's on the page, Acme logo. So let's uncomment this. And then we're going to just say class name equals Lusitana. Let's import that. Dot. Wait, how did we do it on the other one there? Let's go to layout. Okay, just enter class name. Okay, so I'll do the same thing. So let's do this. All right, and let's come here and let's just do Lusitana, Acme logo. Oh, maybe I have to do it in the Acme logo itself. There's no class name prop exported, so let's go there. Okay, it's in here. Oh, it's already in there. Oh, I just had to uncomment it. Okay, cool. Okay, so now let's come back here. Okay, what doesn't it like? Preload is enabled, but no subsets were specified. Available subsets, Latin. Okay, I guess I have to specify one. What's it? App UI. Oh, I think I imported it from the not find module app UI fonts. Let's try that again. And there we go. Should be good. Preload is enabled for font Lusitana. Please use subsets or disable preloading. Okay, let me just go to the fonts here. I dwell on this too much. Subsets. I don't know why I didn't like that before. Okay, so now we got this nice Lusitana font up here. So that's awesome. Cool. Let's continue. Yeah, I did a lot of handlebars to, Aaron, and yeah, it it's kinda like that in 11D with nunchucks, and yeah, Astro's kinda got some of that, but I think the interesting about Astro is they've kinda went, like, with props and stuff, like Astro.props. Like, when I tried it out, I basically built out mainly Astro components, and I hadn't even done anything interactive yet at that point, so it was just interesting that, I don't know, didn't hurt my brain at all is what I'm getting at. Okay, so we got some fonts. Why optimize images now? Okay, so sure, let's add the hero. This is in page.tsx. Okay, so we're gonna add the image first. And is it already commented out? Where was it? App page. Is there oh, it's a different page. That's why. App page. I'm in app page. No, that's right. Okay, where am I adding this? Add hero image here. Okay, at the top. Okay, I see. Or I can add it wherever. I'll just put it at the top. Why not? Maybe under here. Let's see. Uh, okay, let's see here. Didn't like that. What did I do? Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. What is it not liking? Image. Man, do that. Don't dwell on this too much. My undo is doing something very weird. What is going on? Oh man. I probably should have committed this. Acme look. Okay, that. There we go. Okay, let's put that back. So div slash div. Okay, that should be good. So why didn't it like that? Oh, I don't have prettier kicking in. That's what's throwing me off. Okay, let's do this. Let's do touch prettier RC code dot prettier RC. That's what I meant to do. I have the Prettier plugin for VS Code, so I set it up that I need to have a config. So I just put nothing, but there we go. Now it's formatting. Got it. And let's paste this in here, and let's see what that gives us. Okay, screenshots of the dashboard showing desktop and mobile versions. Okay, let's see here. Oh, would help if I where's the hero icon? It's not there. Okay. And share your image is responsive. Okay, this is just talking about using the Next.js image component. I'm not going to bother with that unless it has hero desktop PNG. Is that in the project? Oh, it's in there. So why is it not finding it? Hero. Oh, because hero desktop. So come back here. It should load it up. There we go. Okay. So let's just convert it to a next image component just for good measure. So let's do this. It's gonna say can't find it. Let's import that from next image. And there we go. It should load it. Where did it go? Where did you go, image? Interesting. Hero desktop. That's right. Well, I'm just gonna leave that and we'll just keep moving on. All right. Talking a lot here. Got to take some water. The other thing I do when I stream, and Levi Sharp, who used to do the podcasting for Dev2, I had him on to ask him for tips for like speaking like on podcasts or like streaming. And the first thing he said is like, don't drink coffee or tea, but I always drink coffee or when I'm streaming, but it dries your throat out basically. Okay, I'm not sure why that next image didn't kick in, but I've used next image before. It definitely works. So, anyways, not important. All right, adding the mobile hero. Okay, we're not gonna bother with that. Okay, recommended reading. Cool. Chapter 3. Start chapter 4. Okay, pages and layout. So, uh, this is what I was talking about before when we started the stream. So, with the app router, you have nested routing, uh, which is uh, which is nice. Remix does this as well, and I think there's another framework that does nested routing, but it's escaping me. Yeah, no, I did, Alexandro, I did import the next image library, but I can go back real quick and see there. Um, let's see here. Let's do this back. So it's missing there, but I'm gonna import it. So I'm gonna take it from next image, save it, and it's definitely there. I don't need this. Come back. Yeah, it's not showing up. Just gonna check in the console and let's see here. Yeah, it looks like is the image there? Yeah, the image is there and I see it. It's just not showing up for some reason. You know what? Let's get rid of the Tailwind classes here and see if that brings it in. No. It's got a source set with particular dimensions. So, and it's got this src here, which the file is there because if I open it in new tab, it's right there. So I'm not really sure why it's not loading. It's literally in the markup. So not sure. I'm not going to dwell on it too much just because it's not the main goal of what we're looking at today. We're thanks for joining, by the way, Alexandro. We're kind of going over. We're going through the nextjs.org/learn tutorial, but we're kind of touching on some of the new stuff that they dropped at Next.js Conf yesterday. So things that are notable are server actions are stable now. There's a partial pre-rendering, which is in preview. So that's kind of like they're able to, I'm guessing it's with the compiler, but they're able to deduce, these parts of this page are static and those can always get loaded and then the dynamic stuff gets streamed in. So we're going to get to that in the tutorial. I'll just keep moving on here, but we're going to talk about nested routing. So yeah, so it's file-based routing and the folders are what help you create the nested routing. So like there's the app, the dashboard could have its own layout, but then invoices could have its own, but it would compound on the dashboard one, I believe. Cool. So yeah, let's go here. So yeah, so if you go to here, they're just talking about the folder structure. So app in the actual project that resolves to slash, and then then you've got your login. And the way it works with the app router is you have a folder which is whatever your route is. So like slash login. So the folder is going to be called login, but within that folder you always have to have a file called page .tsx, which is what they default to is TypeScript. I think you can do page.js still, but I think by default it's just going to create TypeScript files. So we're going to create the dashboard page. So let's see here. I'm going to move things side by side and let me know if that's all legible still for everybody. If it is, I'll keep it like this because it'll save me from kind of alt tabbing all the time. So let's do this. Close all those things. Okay. I'm going to leave the dev server running. Okay. So we need to, it says create. Okay. So let's create code app dashboard page.tsx. And let's copy this. Cool. Let's save that. All right. And let's go to the dashboard. So if we just come here, so there's our dashboard page. Okay, great. All right. And yeah, if at least one person in the chat can just say that they can see everything really well, or if I need to zoom in more, because it's actually easier to work side by side. It's just I have a widescreen monitor, so when I stream on Twitch, I usually have OBS that resizes stuff, so it's just different. But if nobody says anything, I'll assume we're all good. Cool, cool. All right, so this is how you create different. Yeah, okay, yeah. No, thanks, Jess. It's just I'm always not paranoid. Paranoid is not the word. It's just like I know when people rewatch this, I just want to make sure like they can actually read it instead of squinting and just listening. So okay, so like I was saying, this is how you can create different pages in Next.js. So you have the folder, and in there, there's always a page file inside it, like they say. So, okay, so let's practice creating some more routes. So in dashboard, customers page. So let's do that. So let's do it again. And we'll say customers. And then in there, we'll do the same thing. And then we'll just say customers page. And if we come back here, and then we'll just go to slash customers. We're going to see it's customers page. That should be is it the customers page or customers page? I'm not sure what they wrote. Oh, it's customers plural, not owning it. Cool, cool. All right. So let's keep moving along here. And we want to create invoices as well. So that makes sense. Do. All right. And we'll do the same thing again. A little copy pasta. We'll just say invoices page. Yeah, I'll keep it like that. All right, cool. All right, spend some time tackling this exercise, and when you're ready, uh, okay, we're good. What are they revealing? Okay, yeah, no, okay, basically what I just did. Okay, so now we're gonna build out the dashboard layout. So in the dashboard folder, so like if we look at the folder structure, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Command B. So we have the folder structure here, and I'll zoom it in for a sec. So we have dashboard, and then we had customers, and in there's another page and so on. But we want to create a layout now. So we're going to need to create a file in here called layout.tsx. Let's zoom that back. Okay, close the side. Okay, cool. So we're in the dashboard layout. I'm just going to copy this, paste it in. Okay, so now if we come back to here, you see all of a sudden I'm in the customers page, but the customers page has acquired the layout of the dashboard. And if I come to dashboard, it's got it as well. So basically any page under the dashboard folder will acquire this top level layout. Okay, cool. A few things to note. So let's break it down. Side nav component in your layout. All right. The layout component receives a children prop. Yeah, we can look at yeah. So the layout, yeah. So the reason why it receives the children is think of it like think of like the children as what you're gonna jam in there, which is the customer page or the invoice page or the main page for the dashboard, and yeah, that's basically it. That's why you're passing in children. Um, okay, cool. We'll keep moving along. And again, I encourage you to check out the docs here as we go along. But now I have a different view of it. It's on the side here, and mine is showing up here. But I have a feeling that's just because I've zoomed in stuff. Because like if I make this super big, it goes on the side now. So that's also uh, hat tip to making it responsive. I just have it zoomed in quite a bit. Okay, so that's all good. Okay, one benefit of using layout is that on navigation, only the page components update while the layout won't re-render. Okay, so that's a nice thing. So it just pulls in the stuff that changes, and we can probably see that if I open up the dev tools. So What's this? This is invoices. Okay, customers pay. Yeah, okay. So if we come here and I go to, if we look, I'll try and show it here. Let's go dashboard. Okay, so I'll zoom this in the dev tools. So we're navigating the pages and it's like, so it says dashboard page there in the markup. So pay attention to down here. You're going to see it flash and it's going to change to something else. Okay, in this case, it looks like it's doing a full page reload. I don't know if that's just for development mode, maybe, probably. Uh, I could be wrong about that. In production, it wouldn't though. You'd basically just see a little bit of the markup change. I'm guessing that's why it's doing a full page refresh because we have like fast refresh and stuff for when you're doing development. So I think that's what's going on. But somebody correct me if I am way off base there. Okay, we can also have a root layout. So we currently have the dashboard layout, which you see here, but we can have a root layout. So that's like one above it. It's just all these onion layers. So let's go to copy this and let's do this. And let's do app layout.tsx. Okay, we already have it. I forgot we already have it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we imported the inter font. Okay, we already have the base layout. Sorry. All right. Skipping the quiz again. All right. Let's move over to navigating between pages. All right. So there's the next link. There's a link component, and uh, it'll talk about it here. Yeah, take care, Jessica. Thanks for hopping on. Honestly, if we don't get through all of it today, we could always do a second stream, but and there's always going to be another stream anyways. Okay, so this is basically a link component, something that Next.js provides, but under the hood, it's an anchor tag. So let's go to the nav links, and we've got links here. Okay, so yeah, currently we're mapping over an array of links, and I'll just close the bottom for a sec here. And we're just basically creating anchor tags. So they're just saying, go ahead and switch it to a link tag. So let's just do that. Okay, it's not going to find the link tag. So let's just import it. Next link. There we go. And there. And it's still going to be the same thing. So if we come back here and we look at links, it's still an anchor tag. Cool. All right, let's keep moving on. Okay, we're common UI pattern is to show the active link. Yeah. So since the use path name is a hook, you'll need to turn nav links into a client component. Okay. So this is touching on React server components and client components now. Uh, I'm not positive because I haven't done a ton of Next.js with app router, like aside from little dinky hello world stuff. Uh, we need to put use client for sure, just to say that this is only for the client side, but I'm not positive if you always have to have the use server directive. I could be wrong, but I think it defaults to React server components by default, and then you opt into client components by using the use client. So let's go ahead and put this in here. And again, if anybody knows better, just let me know in the chat. Okay, so we've done this. So we've made this particular component a client component. Now, to be clear, it doesn't mean that it doesn't render on the server. It's going to render on the server still, like generate markup from the server. But once you hit the client, it's going to become interactive. Whereas a React server component, as far as I know, it'll render the markup on the back end or SSR, server side rendering, and that's what shows up on the page, and then that can't be altered unless you do stuff like server actions. I believe that can pull in and update React server components, but that I'm not positive about. Okay, so we've got that, and we got to use path name. Okay, sure. So let's do this. Okay, and all right. So in nav links, okay, so we're gonna say const use path name. So this is just a React hook, and that's export default. Yeah. Okay. All right, path name, and then I imagine we're going to use CLSX, of course. Yes. Okay, so what we're going to do here is this lets us know which link is the active link, like which page you're on, and this is going to change the styling based on that. So let's go ahead and copy that over. Well, I'll copy this whole thing here, unless we do they already have it? Link href. Okay, so let's replace this whole thing here. Okay, it's not going to find CLSX. Let's import that. Okay. So now let's come back here and we should see the current page probably have different styling. Yeah, so you see all the other icons are black when they're not hovered on. And I can just demonstrate that again if I just undo this. So you see they all went black. So now if I put it back, it was blue. So that's a nice touch. This is actually even good too for accessibility to make people aware of where they're at. Uh, okay, let's keep moving. Okay, automatic code splitting and prefetching. Okay, this is stuff you typically won't have to worry about, but Next.js under the hood is gonna code split so that you get optimized JavaScript bundles in terms of like page loads and stuff. Won't go too much into that. Feel free to, like I said, check out the nextjs.org/learn. Okay, let's move on. Okay, set up your database. Okay. Um, Okay, well, this is a tutorial on Vercel, so it's going to ask us to use Vercel. So that's makes sense. Okay, so let's create a GitHub repository. Okay, so let's do this. All right, Git add everything. I just have some Git aliases. So we're going to say Git check in again, just an alias, initial commit. Okay, we can use GitHub CLI, GitHub repo create. Super handy if you've never used it, the GitHub CLI. Just Google GitHub CLI and you'll get the instructions on how to download it. So we're going to push an existing local repository because I just created it. That's the path, repository. We're going to put it to Nikki T online. Stream about Next.js on cfe.dev YouTube. Okay, we'll make it public so folks can check this out after if they want. Add a remote, yes. Yes, yes. Push the code. Okay, so we've got a repo up now. All right. Okay, okay, yes. I do have a Vercel account. Okay. Connect and deploy your projects. So you'll be, okay. Uh, already signed up, but sure. Okay. And let's go import, what was this called? Next.js configure GitHub app. I'm not going to use GitHub mobile because my phone is currently being used as my camera. So hold on a sec here. There we go. All right. Let's add Next.js, Next.js dashboard. Save. Okay. Import. Okay. Deploy. Sure. Okay. Well, that's going on. Okay. So we need to create a Postgres database. Okay. Go to storage tab. Okay, that's all done. Where's the dashboard? Where the heck is it? Set up a new database. Okay, go to storage tab. Why don't I see the storage tab? Oh, there we go. Okay, and what's it saying? Connect to store, create new. Postgres, continue. Okay, what do they want me to call it? Next.js dashboard. Okay. Postgres. Okay, sure. Washington. All right, that's done. All right. Copy the contents from the env.local page on the database page. Okay. Copy snippet. All right. We'll come back to here for a second while I just go ahead and do that. Okay. Close that. All right. We're back. Cool. Okay, that's done. Let's just, again, this isn't part of it, but okay. Important. Go to your git ignore and make sure .env is there. Okay, let's just do this. I'm gonna run npx git ignore. This is handy when you want to add a git ignore file, and I'm gonna choose node, and I'm gonna say proceed, sure, and there we go. Gchore added git ignore. Okay. Finally run npm install Vercel Postgres in your terminal. Okay. Done. Seed your database. Okay, so we've got a node script in there, so I'm gonna run nr seed. Oh, I gotta add the script. That would help. Okay, let's do that. Package JSON. Let's get rid of this. Okay, close that. Let's try that again. Okay, what didn't it like? Missing connection string. Node dash r. Oh, node dash r dot env config. Do we have .env? Or maybe I had to install that. If you're using Node 20, you don't need this now. Okay, I don't think it's installed. I think I might have had to install that. So .env. Let's go dev dependency. It's not liking. Error seating users, missing connection string. You did not supply A connection string. Okay, what did I miss? Script seed folder. That's fine. What's going on? Package JSON. Okay, what did it not like? I installed Postgres. Okay, I'm just gonna check my .env file real quick. So we'll come back here for a second. Not that I'm really that worried about folks using my test database, but okay. So it's got everything in there. So my guess is it's just not picking up the .env file. Let's see here. But why is it not picking up .env? Install .env. That is just that. And I'm pretty sure this exists in the Next.js code, so I'm not sure why it's not picking it up. Yeah, okay, that's what I did, but I'll install it just for good measure. That is what I did though, but I'm sure it's already there. Yeah, okay. So npm run seed, still not liking it. Missing connection string. Let's go to seed. So it's requiring Postgres, which we installed. Seed users, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so why is it not finding my .env? Yeah, well, that's the beauty of live streaming. I never expect things to be perfect. And oh no, I look up stuff all the time. Don't be ashamed about that. It's totally normal thing, and especially if I'm live streaming and it's like I'm generally pretty comfortable, but like if I don't know what's going on, I have to look it up. So definitely never feel bad about that. Uh, I'm not really stressed out about this. I'm just kind of perplexed. So like there's none of the environment variables in here, so I have a feeling what's happening is because I've never used a Vercel database, but I have a feeling that Vercel Postgres package is basically loading up the stuff. Like if we go into the definition of this, can I do that? I'm not going to go in node modules right now, but basically it's not loading it, but why not? And I'll try something else actually. I'm gonna just switch it to .env instead of .env local. It shouldn't change anything, but off secret. Yeah, I'm just gonna rename it. If it doesn't pick that up, then I'll be very perplexed. But and we're at 2:04, so I'm doing a time check here. But let's see this. Let's come back here. Okay. Ah, that was it. So uh, basically, I just changed. I had named my file .env.local and it wasn't picking it up, so I just switched it to .env. All right, so we've seeded our database, so that should be in the dashboard here. I imagine it's in there. Well, I won't bother querying it right now, but I could look at a table like customers. Sure. Oh, there we go. All right, so we got the data in there. Is it data or data? I'm like such a contradictory Canadian. I say Z sometimes, then I say Z other times. It's like I don't know if it's a mix of North America just taking over in my vocabulary, but I do still spell stuff though O-U-R, not O-R. Uh, cool. All right, so we got our database. That's good. It did say .en. Oh, it is .env. I don't know why I put .env.local. So that's just basically me not reading things properly, Aaron. So there you go. Cool. So we seeded the data. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. We did all that. Okay. I'm not going to bother with queries, but that's SQL. Okay. Let's go. Chapter 7. We're like halfway. I just got to check in on my Slack for a second. Okay. Nothing. All right. Cool. All right. Let's keep going. Okay. So now we're going to be fetching data. So this is probably where I'm guessing server actions are going to kick in. So yeah, so it's saying like for using server components to fetch data. So you have React Server Components, or RSCs as a lot of people call them, and you can opt in to client components when needed. We saw that in the nav link. So you can opt in by basically putting this use client. Okay, so server component support promises. So you can do async data fetching. Okay. So yeah, and on the server side, you don't need to use effect or use state or anything. And like it's saying, since server components execute on the server, you can query the database directly without an additional API layer. People have opinions about that, which I don't need to get into now, but basically, you can fetch your data directly on the server side. So um, okay, so for your dashboard project, you'll write database queries using the verse cell Postgres SDK, blah blah blah. All right, so let's go into code app lib data. Okay, and if we look in here, okay, so there's already queries in here. We're not going to go through a SQL tutorial, but basically there's some select statements and stuff. So here we're selecting invoices and we're ordering it by the most recent one. So invoices date descending. Okay, so we don't need to do that. Okay, cool. Fetching data from the dashboard. Okay, that's what we want to get to. Let's close all these files. Ever since I got my new computer for work for open source, there's like some keyboard shortcut that takes over Command Option T. I don't know what it is still, because it's a shortcut I used to use in VS Code to close all the files except for the current one. So I'm still on the hunt for that if anybody knows. Okay, so let's go to dashboard and page.tsx. Okay, and let's just pop this all in. That's not what I want to pop in. Why didn't you copy? There we go. Okay, so let's save that and let's come back to the dashboard. Let's close the dev tools. So this is the main page. Okay, nothing showing up yet. We're gonna start putting stuff in there. It's 2:08 right now. We're gonna go to 2:30, and then I'm gonna have to call it a day for today because I do have to get back to work. But if for some reason we don't get through the rest, we can definitely do it on another stream. But just wanted to mention again, and I'll drop the link here, twitter.com/next.js. Let me find the tweet. Okay, so here's the tweet. So this is what was dropped yesterday. I'll just put this in the chat again, and folks can check that out to just read on what was new. So just to reiterate, so Turbo for dev mode, so that's Turbo Pack. There's faster builds, local server startups faster. Server actions are stable now. Partial pre-rendering is in preview. We're probably not going to get that today because that's chapter 14, I believe, which is the last one. It's an optional chapter in this. If we don't get through all this today, I encourage you to just go through the tutorial yourself and feel free to reach out if you have questions. Oh, hey, Lee. Thank you for joining. Um, Yeah, no, yeah, it's just going through the tutorial. Yeah, nice work on stuff here. Yeah, so I'm curious to see the partial pre-rendering. I don't know if I'm going to get to it today, but yeah, no, great work. I know your team usually has really good docs, so kudos to that. Um, yeah, so anyways, just wanted to drop that there. That was the announcements yesterday. So check that out. And what's going on in Twitter land here? I'm getting distracted. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. All right, let's continue. Right. Yeah. So we got about 20 more minutes. So, okay. So essentially we're on the dashboard page right now. And I copied that over. We've got some components that are commented out. This is just JSX commenting, if you haven't seen that before. Okay, and then we're going to slowly open up each of these components and add them. So we're going to fetch data for the revenue chart. So let's do that. So let's go in here. We're going to use fetch revenue. Okay, so let's add that. My scrolling is going too fast here. Okay, and then we're just going to do this. We're going to get the revenue. So we're just awaiting this, and we can go to this if we want to see. Not implemented yet, some of it. Or, oh no, sorry, it is implemented. That's just some comments. So you can see here when we're fetching the data, it's so this is TypeScript. So the SQL this is it, people, because people were tweeting about this before, how like you can get like SQL injection happening and stuff, but this is actually using a template string function called SQL. So it handles the um, it handles anything like in terms of SQL injection, so you don't have to worry about that. And it's using TypeScript here. So this is the SQL template function is a generic. So it's typing this to revenue. It's the first time I'm using the SQL template function, but I imagine if the type isn't revenue, it'll probably do something like you can't use the revenue table, probably something like that. Because TypeScript's actually pretty good with template strings. Cool, cool. All right, let's keep moving on here. So we added that. I'll just close this. I just wanted to take a peek in this. So that's going to get us our revenue. And then, yeah, let's uncomment the revenue chart. Okay, so where is the revenue chart? Uh, why do I not see it? Let me look for it. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So let's remove that. Okay, so this chart's probably going to look really nice. It's going to pull in the data here as a prop. So let's come back here and let's go back to the dashboard. Okay, so right now it just says recent revenue, and I'm guessing that is coming from the component. Why is it not going to the component? Okay, yeah, so recent revenue. Yeah, so that's just the header there. Okay, so there's some stuff we're going to pull out here, and then we'll go through that. So let's take a peek here. Okay, check out your localhost. Now you're using revenue data in your component. Okay, so why is it not pulling in the revenue? Let me see here. I just want to make sure my dev server is still running. It is. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Oh no, that's not Brian. That's me that put that there. Just hiding that. Okay. Yeah, why is it not picking it up? So the revenue component is loading because we can see here, I uncommented it down here. It's definitely rendering it because we see the header, but why am I not seeing the component? This could be because maybe it's a responsive issue. Let me just zoom back out. No, okay, it's not that. So it might not be retrieving the data, or maybe I missed a step. Let me go back up here. Okay, that's good. You know what? Let's output the revenue data. Sol.dir revenue. This will show up in the server console here. Okay, let's come back here. Okay, so we've got the data. So it's coming in February, August, May with particular revenue. So, uh, yeah, so the data's there. So that's a little odd that I'm not seeing the component. Kind of curious. Why is that? Okay, so we go into the revenue chart. Oh, I think I have to uncomment this. Maybe that I missed that step. No, comment in this code when you get to this. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna uncomment this. That would make sense. The prop is being passed in. I just don't have the data. Y-axis label is not defined. Let's check that out. Let's see where that's defined. Oh yeah, just gotta undo a bit of code here. So uncomment all this. All right, there we go. There we go. Now we got a chart. Uh, I must have missed that step. I am kind of speed running through this. So okay, so we got our chart there now. So this is pulling in real data. So this is recent revenue. This Acme company is killing it. All right, cool. Let's keep moving on. And let's just take a peek again at the revenue, fetch revenue, fetch. Where was it? Let me close this. Uh, revenue chart, revenue, go to definition. No, it's not what I want to do. Go to definition. There we go. Fetch revenue. Just wanted to look at this again real quick. So it's async function, and yeah, so it's just doing a SQL direct SQL query, and this is because we have a connection to the Postgres up here. That's getting our data back, and we're just getting data rows back. And there's other things here, so like eventually we can get latest invoices and stuff, and so on. And you know, uh, I guess it depends here, like some people like ORMs, object relational mappers, some people don't. So this really isn't an ORM. This is like raw queries just in a function. And I say raw queries in the sense that it's using the SQL template function, so it's not it, it's raw-ish, I guess. But anyways, okay, cool. So we've got that. We got the revenue chart up. Cool, cool. Okay, so let's do the same thing for the other things. Might as well for good measure. So it's in this page, latest invoices. So let's uncomment that. Okay, we need to get latest invoices. So we'll have to get a fetch latest invoices, I'm guessing. Instead of sorting through the latest invoices in memory, you can use a SQL query to fetch only the last five invoices. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. So yeah, so we're gonna fetch latest invoices just in up here. We'll import that as well. Cool. Latest invoices. All right. Okay. We don't need to console dir the revenue now. Okay. And now we should have two charts now. Okay. Now it looks really massive because I just have it zoomed in so folks can see it. Okay, it says updated right now, and I'm probably gonna have to go into the latest invoices and uncomment some code too, maybe. Yeah. So, okay, let's do this. All right, cool. There we go. And then we've got some latest invoices. Uh, looks like Steven's charging quite a bit, or so's Emil. I don't know Emil. I do know Steven, but oh, Lee, only $5. Was that a coffee? Not sure. Not sure. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Okay, and also this is responsive. I just happen to be on a large screen, but if we go here, then and I'm zoomed in quite a bit. So like, here we go. So responsive. So let's zoom that back in. Go back here. Okay, cool. I can close this. Close this. Don't need that open. All right. Okay. Fetch data for the card components. Okay. So let's close this. We don't need that. Okay. So we got all these card components now. So I'm gonna uncomment the, oh, whoops, I gotta do them one by one. Okay. If you highlight and you do command or control if you're on a non-Mac machine, so I'm going to do command front slash, and that just uncomments. Now we're going to get a lot of red squiggly lines just because there's some variables not defined here, but that's all good. I'm not too worried about that. Okay, cool. So we need to get these other things, total pending invoices and all that. So let's go down here. Okay, so let's go to lib data. Okay, this is just showing what's already in the data file. So this is basically saying get the count for the number of invoices, get the count for the number of customers. Uh, I don't do a ton of SQL in my day to day, but I think can't remember if you're generally not supposed to use star. I think for performance reasons, but I don't know if that's changed over the years. Like, anyways, uh, okay, so we got those two things. Uh, I gotta undo the comments. Why did I? Okay, okay, this is okay. I got it. Yeah, sorry. This is just basically reading it based off of that other stuff. Okay, and then total paid invoices we don't have yet. Where is all invoices? Okay. Fetch late. Okay, we should get all customers. Let's see here. I just gotta pull that stuff out of here. Invoice count. Promise. Check the. All right, cool. I think I'm just supposed to pull those out here, but I'm just gonna reveal it real quick. So fetch card data. Okay, I didn't realize there was a fetch card data. Okay, and then okay, so it's gonna destructure with all the things we need. It's good. Normally, I would spend more time digging in myself, but we're doing speed run here, like I said. Okay, so we've got that number of invoices, total pending, blah blah blah, and then okay, let's just grab what they have here. Okay, so we're good. I'm not gonna bother with these. All right, so if we come back here, okay, so we've got some other stuff up here, some more data. Cool. So it's building out a nice dashboard. Okay, cool. The data requests are unintentionally blocking each other, creating a request waterfall. By default, Next.js pre-renders routes to improve performance. This is called static rendering. So if your data changes, won't be reflected in your dashboard. So let's discuss chapter number 1 in this chapter. So yeah, so let's go through the request waterfalls. So you'll see this, you can see this in the browser too, but they're just they're going sequential and we want to do it in parallel. So like my guess is that we're probably these are all awaiting, so we could do a promise.all probably. I'm guessing that's what they're going to suggest, or maybe there's another way. Yeah. So yeah, so here, all these things, it depends. Like you can't do promise.all when like the first, like say you have a first promise that's got data that you need for the next one. So that you can't really, you really do have to call the other one first. But if they can all be run at the same time, if they're not dependent on each other, definitely go for like a promise.all. There is one thing to take into account is it depends, like, because when you're running in a serverless environment, there's this really handy utility called plimit. And because like if you say promise.all and then you said like here's 50 promises, it might work fine on your MacBook, but like in a serverless environment, it might go like, I can't do that. So you can limit how many can be done in parallel. So it's called plimit. I used it recently. Yeah, here it is, plimit. Uh, I'll just drop that in the chat. Well, anyways, that's just a side note. But so example here, they're saying we need to wait for fetch revenue to execute before we get fetch latest invoices, so that can start running. So that makes sense. And yeah, it's saying it's not necessarily bad. There may be cases where you want waterfalls because you need a condition first to be satisfied from the first thing being pulled down. But if not, yeah, go ahead and do it together with like promise.all. Yeah, so there's promise.all settled here. The I typically use promise.all, and I know people say you should be using promise.all settled, but for me, it's like, I don't know if errors. I guess you could use it. I don't know. I just haven't really used it. Basically, all settled just means it's like all the promises are completely done, regardless of what their state was. Versus promise.all, I believe, fails as soon as at least one of the promises fails. I'm pretty sure that's the difference. Okay. So, anyways, they're just saying, why don't we just run this all in parallel? So we can do that. Checking the time here. We only got about 4 minutes left here, so I don't think we're gonna get through the whole thing here. So we're literally like halfway through, but we can do this. We can do. Let's go and do a promise.all. So we've got uh, invoice count. Where is it? Fetch card data. Oh yeah, so it's in fetch card data. So if we look for that, okay, in here. Sorry. Okay, so you see here. Okay, no, they're already doing it. Never mind. Okay, so they were just explaining that you don't have to do a waterfall. Okay, so there's nothing we need to do there. Yeah, so yeah, like they're saying here, the promise.all that's settled gives you the status to whether it was rejected or not, which could be useful because you could potentially continue even if some of the data like was rejected, and maybe you retry it, but you could still load the UI with other stuff. Okay. Okay, dynamic, static and dynamic rendering. Let's try and get here. Oh, okay, wait, is that talking about PPR? Okay, learn how you can use the further optimized data fetching with PPR and streaming. Okay, so we are going to get to the what was it called? Partial pre-rendering. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do this, and then I think we'll call it a day after that because I do have to get back to work. But for some reason, I thought this was at the end of the tutorial, so maybe not. Just doing a quick check here. Okay, cool. All right. So we're talking about static and dynamic rendering. So we fetched some data in the previous. Okay, the data requests are creating an unintentional waterfall. The nice thing about the waterfall expression is you can understand it if you've ever seen a waterfall, which I think most people probably have. So the dashboard is static, and any updates, any updates will reflect on your application. So we're going to go over static rendering to improve your app's performance, what dynamic rendering is when you use it, and then different approaches and the limits of fetching data at request time. So static rendering is, here we go. Yeah, so it's basically at build time, and this has existed in other frameworks too. Um, Next.js has had this even in the pages router. Okay, cool. So basically, you're in a serverless environment, but basically the page has already been pre-built. Is what a static page is. And yeah, so basically, like, and it'll just get pushed to the CDN. So there's no, aside from requesting it from the CDN, there's nothing else to do really. So static rendering is useful, like, and especially if you have like a blog or anything that's not dynamic, definitely go with static rendering. But as soon as you have dynamic stuff, that's when we need to look at other options. So again, I'm not going to go through the tutorials because we're sorry, the quizzes because the speed run, we're at 2:29 here. So dynamic rendering is probably what you think it is. So it's like real-time data or stuff just coming in. It could be like they're saying user-specific content. So for example, like when I log into Amazon and I see my shopping cart and it says I have 3 items in there, the rest of the page Amazon doesn't use React, but like whatever tech you're using, you can basically say like I'm rendering a ton of the page, but it's already been like pre-rendered. So I have the literal markup that's going to show up on the page, but I have these like dynamic pieces like my shopping cart or like profile information. And then there's request time information. So yeah, you only know it literally at request time. So like cookies, URL search params. Okay, cool. So let's make the dashboard dynamic. And then once we've done this, gonna call it a day, like I said. So, all right. So there's unstable no store from Next cache. Okay, let's take a peek here. Okay, so data. Maybe this stuff's already in there. No. Okay. Whoops. Whoop. My mouse. I have a. I got it a while ago, but the Logitech Max. What is it? MX3 mouse. MX Master. This one here. Really great, but it's got a wheel on it, and sometimes I flick it too hard, and then like if I go back on a page, it just like keeps scrolling. Anyways, useless information you don't need to know about my environment. Okay, so let's copy this and let's bring this in here. Right, so this is no store, and then async function. Okay, so we're gonna say no store, and so we're gonna add no store here to prevent the response from being cached. Okay, so and so it's gonna add this to fetch. So basically, we always want to get fresh content because we're fetching revenue, which is live data, and we're gonna do it in a few other places like latest invoices because we want to know always that it's the latest invoices, not like invoices from yesterday or 5 hours ago. And this is probably good to use for stuff that like is super, super important and has to be real time. If it's stuff like you don't really care if it's like 2 days old, what you're seeing, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. So, all right, so let's fetch filtered invoices. Okay, so we got query string, current page number. Okay, and then we're gonna add no store in there too, or is that already in there? Okay, current page number, no store. Okay, and then fetch invoice pages. Do it again, no store. And no store on fetch filtered. Oh, there we go. Okay. Note, unstable no stores, experimental API may change in the future. Good disclaimer to have. Cool. Anyways, we're experimenting with it. So simulating a slow data fetch. Okay, so definitely do not commit this to your code in a production app, but we're basically, this is like a sleep going on in the code. So let's look for fetch revenue. Okay, and I'm gonna add it here. To do remove. Thank you, Copilot. Okay. So this is going to simulate that. And so let's go to the dashboard now. So let's refresh here. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, then it loaded. Okay. So there. Oh, yeah, I should open it in a new tab. That's a good point because we don't see it then. So let's close this. Here we go. So you're going to be 1, 2, 3. There you go. Okay. So the page takes longer to load, and in your terminal, you should also see the following fetching revenue data. Okay, yeah, I don't think I added that in there, or maybe that's already in there. But basically, we put in a delay just to demonstrate slow page loading when you're waiting for data, which is not something we want. You always want somebody to see your page as quickly as possible. Okay, So there's that part. Okay, I guess we'll do the streaming. I don't know if I'm let's see here. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll finish with this. I'm just gonna check my work Slack real quick. Uh, okay, cool. All right. So yeah, what we're gonna cover, streaming and when you might use it, how to implement loading JS and suspense. Yeah, so suspense allows you to put in a kind of like replacement component as you're waiting for stuff. So like a loading skeleton, like they're mentioning, what route groups are and when you might use them. I haven't heard of route groups yet, but I'm guessing that might work with cache tags. So like you can invalidate a whole thing, but we'll see. And where to place suspense boundaries in your application. So streaming is data transfer technique that allows you to break down a route into smaller chunks. So yeah, so essentially we want to load the page. You might get a bit of skeleton somewhere, but you see the page pretty much immediately, and then the other things come in as needed. So with streaming data, we're fetching and rendering, and so you can kind of see it happening here. Load, 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 load. Uh, yeah, okay. So let's do streaming with React's component model. Okay, so let's at the page level with the loading TSX. Yeah. So as we saw here, so like I was saying, I'll zoom this in real quick. So like we were saying, so the dashboard is the main route, then there's customers, and then there's like a page. In the page, you can also have a loading.tsx. So as that particular thing's loading, it can show the loading or it can show the page once it's loaded. I believe here. Yeah. So yeah, so exactly. So let's go to dashboard. So let's come here and let's say new file, loading.tsx. And one thing to note is it always has to be called loading. Whether even if it's in like the subfolder, just like how we have page.tsx in every folder, if you have a loading, it has to be loading.tsx, assuming you're using TypeScript. I'm assuming you can still use JS, but I don't know. Okay, so let's just copy this. Um, all right, no, I don't need to ask Copilot right now. I'm too zoomed in here. That's what's going on. All right, let's close the sidebar. Okay, let's just paste that in. Okay, so now let's refresh the dashboard. And okay, so you see it's loading now, and then we get it. And that's because, and just to just show that a little better now, let's copy. So you see we get the side, and then 1, 2, 3, boom. And we still have that fake delay, so that's what's going on there. Okay, so the loading is a special Next.js file built on top of suspense. So we don't even need to use suspense. It just knows to pick it up. It knows that this is the suspense kind of like filler component while the thing's loading. The sidebar is static, like they're saying, so that's why it's shown immediately. Adding loading skeletons. Okay, yeah, we could add a dashboard skeleton. Sure. So let's do that. And then after this chapter, I'm definitely gonna call it a day. But this has been super fun. Okay. So if we come back here, I'll just refresh it. We're gonna get a better thing now. And that's it's a nice effect. And you can see how the skeleton is mimicking as best as possible like what the actual UI looks like. Cool, cool, cool. All right. And there we go. Fixing the loading skeleton bug with root or route. I always say to both of those. Okay. Right now, the loading skeleton will apply to the invoices and customer pages too. This is because in Next.js, files nest inside each other. Since loading TSX is higher level, just like we get the dashboard layout for all of those things, we get the loading for all of them. So we can fix this with route groups. So create a new folder called overview in the dashboard folder. Okay, so new folder, and it's with parentheses, overview. Okay, and then move your loading and page TSX into there. Okay. Okay, let's move those. Okay. And now loading will only apply to the dashboard overview page. Okay, so overview just meaning index page. And it's using the parentheses, so it's a special indicator, I guess. So if I load this, okay. Oh, I've got a, what did it not like? Loading, save. Oh, it's because I moved files, I think. So let me just start up the dev server again. All right, there we go. Give it a second. Okay. So now there, but if I come here, it shows the invoice. You see, we don't get the skeleton there, but we only get it here. So that's what it's showing, which is the main page. Okay, cool, cool. Streaming a component. So if we go to the dashboard / page. Okay, then import suspense from React and wrap it around revenue chart. Okay. Okay, let's come here and let's wrap that. And do, 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 do. Okay, we need to import it. Okay, I'm just gonna prettify it. Okay, and then we're probably gonna have to add a fallback component in there, I imagine. So yeah, fallback, revenue chart skeleton. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, we're gonna have to import that. Okay. And finally update the revenue chart component to fetch its own data. Okay, so we're not doing it at the page level now. So let's get the, okay, yeah. So instead of passing it in as a prop, we're going to do it directly in there. So let's look for revenue chart. And then let's come in here. Okay, so we don't have a prop now. Oops. It would help if I did the import above. Okay, and then we're gonna fetch the revenue there. So quick change. Okay, so now let's see what that looks like. So let's reload. Where was it? Oh, maybe I'm not done. Sorry. Okay, now refresh the page. You should see the dashboard information almost immediately, while the fallback skeleton is shown for the revenue chart. So I'm just gonna make this big. Oh, you know what? I forgot to take it off of the other stuff. I think that's why. Hold on a sec. I missed a step. Suspense. Okay, delete all instances of fetch revenue from the dashboard page. Yeah, that's what I forgot to do. Oops. Page dashboard. Yeah. Oh, it's in here. Okay. Where was it? I don't need to fetch revenue now. Is that what it said, right? Page. Yeah, I don't need that in here. Okay. Let's try that now. Yeah, okay. So you see everything else loaded immediately, and then we have a separate skeleton now. And so, you, you know, the main thing with web dev in general, and this is like even without React or whatever, is you just always want to show the page as quickly as possible. So these are things that allow you to do that. So we've streamed the whole page. Okay, now we did all that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We put that in suspense. I updated the revenue chart. Okay, and then we saw it in action. Okay, so now it's your turn. Practice by doing it with another component. We're at 245, so we didn't get through everything, but we got pretty good. We chapter 9 out of 14. It was a lot of fun. Thanks everybody for joining today. Thanks as always, CFE.dev for letting me stream my mouth and blab away here. It's been fun. Thanks everybody for joining today, and I'll be on my own stream on Twitch on Monday. I'll drop that, nickit.live. I'm going to be hanging with Todd Libby, who's a senior accessibility expert, and a friend. We're going to be accessibility bug hunting, going through the open source app where I currently work. So that should be a lot of fun. Check that out on Monday at 5 p.m. UTC. And as always, check out everything going on at cfe.dev. I know there's a Halloween thing going on, DevOps Halloween, I believe. But just check that out over at cfe.dev. I'll just pop that up real quick. And yeah, with that, we'll see you all. I'll be back next month. We'll see what we're doing next. Cool. Take care, everybody.